up, guys? It's your boy Alex, and welcome back to the Brave Lion Art channel, and we are back with another reaction video. So this particular one was originally going to be released on July 7th, but because I was working that day and I didn't have really anything planned for that day, basically just to bring out because I was doing other stuff, I really couldn't get that video out. Now, the reason why I was doing it on July 7th was because it was a particular voice actor's birthday that day. And if you guys didn't know, that particular voice actor was Cree Summers. Now, for those of you that don't know, Cree Summers did a lot of voices back then in the day of her line of work as acting. She was the voice of Penny for Inspector Gadget. She was the voice of Elmira for Tiny Toon Adventures. She was the voice of Number 5 for Codename Kids Next Door. She was a lot of voices back in the day. And still kind of doing voices to this day. Interesting fun fact, if you guys have not watched this series on Netflix, she voiced a character in the series Voltron, which surprisingly was made by DreamWorks. And I believe was one of the first few times they did a Netflix original anime series. So yeah, kudos to DreamWorks for doing that. So, as a special request from my friend Infinity Studios, they wanted me to do a reaction to a certain Nostalgia Critic review where he's reviewing another Disney movie that he may or may not like. That movie in particular is one that I think is kind of underrated. That being, of course, Atlantis, the Lost Empire. Yeah, for those of you who don't know about it, it's basically the story of an expedition to the lost city of Atlantis and all the magic and wonder that it has when it was sunk down into the ocean years ago. And surprisingly, I actually like the movie. Yeah, it's another Disney movie that I find really underrated and fun to watch. But the question is, how does Doug feel about it? Well, there's only one way to find out. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, so like I said, this movie is actually, in my opinion, really highly underrated. So, I'm not exactly sure how Doug's gonna feel about this movie particularly, but let's just see how it is exactly. So, we're not gonna waste any time and actually jump right into the video. So, without further ado, let's dive right into Nostalgia Critic's review of Atlantis, the Lost Empire, and see if it's another classic Disney movie that he particularly likes. So, without further ado, starting the video in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. And actually, it's been kind of a long time since I did a reaction to a Nostalgia Critic video, I believe. I don't know exactly how long, but it's just been a really long time since I've done one. And I'm just trying to get more out as quick as I can. I don't know, but anyway, let's just get started.
Yeah, put 20 shares in the Shyamalan kid. I have a feeling he's the future of movies.
We have an upcoming talent named Joss Whedon.
Stats?
Wrote Atlantis, the Lost Empire.
Bomb.
Titan AE.
Bomb.
Alien Resurrection.
An emotional bomb.
And Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which he's also turning into a show.
Who the hell would watch something
kinda
like that?
weird.
Don't invest in him at all.
Oh my god, Buffy's becoming a smash hit.
What? Well, what else has he got coming up?
A show
Yeah,
called Firefly.
of course the
a show
Buffy
called
series would
Dollhouse,
get
and a
popular.
movie called Serenity.
Buy them all. We're not going to make the same mistake again.
You're right, we made a new mistake.
Jesus, they all tanked. Okay,
Wow.
what does he have coming up next?
Horror comedy called Cabin in the Woods and the Avengers movie.
Avengers?
Well,
Isn't
we know
there any other
Avengers is
films
gonna
he
do
directed
good,
that
so-
Serenity bomb?
Yep.
Well, we're not going to lose a bunda.
Avengers is one of the highest grossing movies of all time. What? Cabin in the Woods did well too, and Firefly got a cult following.
Perfect reaction there, Tam.
Whedon is...
I can't even talk
Currently the
today.
most popular creator in Hollywood.
Okay, we gotta play the long game here. Even if something he does tanks, he'll find his audience eventually. What does he have coming up next?
Sequel to Avengers, a Shakespearean movie, and the Justice League.
Put everything we got into those projects.
Ooh,
We are
Justice
in it for the
League.
long haul. 2 comic book
Yeah.
teams and a theatrical masterpiece. By God, we are not gonna make the same mistakes
Again, if you try to take my corner away from me, I will not hesitate to give
That's
you a dirty
awesome.
look.
That's a great transition to that. Wow. That's kind of weird to think that Atlantis really bombed that badly in theaters? I guess it did. But I'm guessing that was the track record with the directors, that you would see something that was good from him, and then there usually was something that was bad from him. Justice League being one of them. And I know there's a lot of people out there that like the Snyder Cut. The 4-hour-long version of the Justice League movie.
Hello on the nostalgia.
Oh boy.
Remember it so you don't have to. If you were to combine the people who made Hunchback, Avengers, Lion King, Last of the Dogmen, and Finding Nemo together, what would you get? A blandly conceived, uninspired, exhausting, bland
Wow.
adventure that doesn't
Really?
hold enough water to drown a rat, much less a civilization, that I kinda like.
Okay, so at least he likes it. That's good news, at least.
Disney hand-drawn films in the 2000s were kinda like Disney hand-drawn films in the 80s. True, Pixar was doing great, but everything from their 2D department was not pulling in the numbers.
I actually think I forgot to mention that, like, they also ended up making technically a sequel to the movie, but it was meant to actually be a TV series.
As the Black Cauldron of the
But
time was
the episodes
2001's
weren't really that
Atlantis, the
long. They
Lost
were
Empire.
compiled all into
It had
one
a PG
short,
rating,
straight to
which back
DVD
then for their
movie.
animated films was rare. They wanted to tell a story leaning more towards older kids, and they were pushing to be seen as more aggressive and adult. So they put a lot of their top talent on board, including, like I mentioned, Joss Whedon, who always wanted to make an imaginative sci-fi fantasy adventure like the ones they grew up on. Americans didn't take, making $84 million on a $120 million budget. While overseas it did better, like
I remember,
Black
like,
Cauldron,
visually,
it
this
severely
movie looked
underperformed.
really, really
While I
good.
can't act like this is one of Disney's best, I do find myself enjoying it just as much now as when it came out. Yeah, it has some awkward moments and some story threads that don't make sense, but the ideas, visuals, and characters I think are all memorable and
The
do
world
leave
they
a strong
created
enough
was
impact.
incredibly awesome to
But
look
yeah,
at.
those awkward moments.
You're disgusted yet! You're from around the globe spending the centuries.
What have you done?
Is it enough to cancel out the good of the
I
film,
had
though?
to.
But let's take a closer look to find out. 20 years later, let's take a look at Atlantis, the Lost Empire. Classy having ancient Greek philosophers do your exposition dump. I'm a much bigger fan of Socrates' rebuttal. I say Atlantis is kind of
I'm pretty sure that's from, like,
buffoon
Bill and Ted's
kinda.
Excellent
In
Adventure.
movie form, relax, it's comedy. With technology light years ahead of its time, but their weapons of war end up sinking the city. I love the device a person uses to call out to people actually looks like a person calling out to people.
Somehow
Like,
I never
toilets of
really
this
noticed
world
that.
Look like people going to the can.
Weird.
The Queen of Atlantis is called by a mystical force, leaving her husband and daughter behind. Oh, if you're gonna steal from Nadia, can you at least steal from the dubbed version? Actually, let's talk about that. There's an anime
Oh.
called Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water, that apparently had a lot of similarities. From designs to characters to crystals to even a Nemo-style sub looking for Atlantis.
Wow.
The makers of Atlantis said they never saw it, but they did take inspiration from Miyazaki's Castle in the Sky. Coincidentally,
Okay.
Miyazaki
I
did
actually
work
did
on
not
Nadia.
know that there was a movie made by Hayao
Technology they said they got
Miyazaki.
from the works of Edgar Casey.
And what's
It was a
funny
big name
is,
in the
like,
early
when they
20th
did the English dub,
It
they
is
actually
quite
brought
a
in
coincidence,
some
but from what
veteran,
I've seen,
like,
I
Disney
think
voice
it's
actors
possible
to
it
do the
is
English dub for
exactly
some
that.
characters
A
for
coincidence.
Miyazaki films.
I mean, Disney.
One in particular, my favorite, Spirited Away. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, Kimba the White Lion.
Cut to Washington,
see where Disney
1914,
drew
where
inspiration
this film was
from.
clearly not stealing from Nadia. It was stealing from Stargate all along.
Cartography and linguistics, Milo Thatch speaking.
Yes, a
Yep.
teacher slash boiler
Michael
agent
J.
boy named
Fox.
Milo, voiced by Michael J. Fox, gives his
What's
theories
funny,
about the
at the
existence
time,
of a
I didn't
lost
even
civilization
know
that's
that it
constantly
was Michael
laughed
J.
at,
Fox,
except by
like,
an
voicing
eccentric
this
millionaire
character.
Who gives him the technology
Watching
and
it
team
again,
to
like,
go
years
find
later,
it. Fear
now
not,
I finally
Stargate would
realized.
get the revenge when naming their spin-off series. Okay, if you've ever watched a Saturday morning cartoon, you know this is a classic narrative, so I don't see it as stealing as much as digging up tired tropes. But are they tiredly classic or
Yeah.
classically tired? You probably heard dialogue like this at the beginning of something before.
This museum funds scientific expeditions based on fact.
There's a turtle. It's in Iceland. I'm sure of it this time.
And congratulations on your
It is a
transition
common
from frog to
trope.
human.
You have a lot of potential, Milo. Don't throw it all away chasing fairy tales.
You have a great future fixing boilers. Who knows? One day you might be promoted to cleaning cat shit. That's right, I forgot I'm not married.
Yeah.
Approached by Helga, voiced by Claudia Christian, who I'm just gonna say, this character's a little weird. I know what they're going for, the classic badass femme fatale, but her dialogue always seems less seductive and more odd.
How did you get in here?
I came down the chimney. Oh,
Ho, ho.
Sexy Santa. She takes him to her employer named Whitmore, who's built up as a creepy, domineering millionaire.
Mr. Whitmore does not like to...
Yeah, I still find it little bit questionable. The fact that, like, he's being called in by this eccentric billionaire that he's never heard of in his life, and basically wants to help him fund this expedition that he's been wanting to go on to find this journal to Atlantis. Yeah, I think it's safe to say Milo should be a little bit more skeptical about this. Just a thought. But then again, he's not too bright in the head sometimes, considering he is the main character of this movie, basically.
Short and to the point. He doesn't bite often.
Also, I'm just gonna scooch over a
Howard
little bit.
Hughes vampire beast are we dealing with here? Oh, it's just a sillier version of Martin Crane. He's actually really nice.
Preston Whitmore. Pleasure to meet you, Milo.
Yeah, and he also likes to shake hands with his foot sometimes.
No.
But yeah,
You see what I mean? She's
pretty
kinda
nice.
weird. Whitmore says he was a friend of Milo's grandfather who also believed in Atlantis and wants to fund his expedition to find it with the help of a lost Atlantean journal.
I said, that? If you ever actually find that so-called journal, not only will I finance the expedition, but I'll kiss you full on the mouth. My embarrassment when he found the darn thing.
Not sure why he wanted pictures of that. Or the costumes. Don't Google me.
Okay. Yeah, usually when it shows a black screen in his videos, that means at some point an ad was about to play, so I'm gonna probably try to edit that as much as I can. But yeah, carrots will do that to you, Milo. Though they don't have, like, a good flavor. They don't have flavor at all, what am I saying? They can still mess your stomach up, especially if you're seasick. Yeah.
He's introduced to his crew after this improvised line.
Carrots? Why is there always carrots? I didn't
How
even
did you
eat
eat carrots?
And we're introduced to another character who often improvised, Vinny.
Yeah,
voiced by
this
Donatello.
guy, Vinny. He's like one of the best characters in this movie. Just because of his accent.
Plus, 5 of my own.
Apparently he would do only one take of the line as written, and then every following take would be him
nitroglycerin,
improvising the line, but
fuses,
with more
tubes,
jokes.
and
And you can tell
paper
because he's by
clips.
far the
Big
funniest
ones.
character.
A lot of things we're not proud of. Robbing graves, slandering the tombs, double parking. But nobody got hurt. Well, maybe somebody got hurt, but nobody we knew.
He's introduced to other crew members.
Lettuce!
Cookie, voiced by Jim Varney.
I got
Noel,
you
voiced by
four
Corey
basic
Burton,
food groups.
and Dr.
Beans,
Sweet, voiced by
bacon,
Phil
whiskey, and
Morris.
lard.
You do any fishing? I hate fishing. I hate fish. Hate the taste, hate the smell, and hate all them little bones. I'm gonna need you to fill these up.
Nice meeting you.
Who told you to put the pants on? I didn't tell you to put the pants on. Who told you to put the pants on?
Okay, Doug.
There you are.
I mean, Mole is...
You might start to see one
Kinda
of the
funny.
problems with the movie. It goes back and forth between being for younger audiences and older audiences.
Get back. I've got
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
ready to use.
they didn't get
Well, I can't say
too
there's only
jokey with this
one character
movie,
that's specifically
like,
for kids.
all the time. There were
more
times when they
exclusive.
actually
You
got
can tell this is the same
really
people who did
serious.
Hunchback, as it's almost like the Gargoyles took over directing certain scenes. So we'll have a slow descent into
Oh, yeah,
the
this was a
ocean
really
where we
cool
let the
shot in the
awe
movie.
and wonder of what Milo is experiencing really sink in.
Alright, now we'll have a bunch of characters jumping around with a bunch of fast editing and silly sound effects.
Rob.
And we'll have a slow conversation about the expedition and how much Milo's grandfather really meant to him.
Followed by a bunch of fast talking, dirt, and of course, don't forget the pee and vomit
Yep.
jokes. How come there's no merchandise of me again?
With that said, the characters are very distinct, work well off each other, and majority of the time do get laughs. Watching it again, I was actually surprised other characters like Rourke, played by James Garner, Audrey, played by Jacqueline Orbitors, and Mrs. Packer,
Yeah,
played by Florence
Audrey was
Stanley,
actually a
didn't get
really
much
good
attention
character that I
before the
liked
first
in this
big action
movie.
sequence. I kinda like this though because it gives time for them to be explored later. Almost like we're being introduced to new characters that weren't new at all, they were just in the background. With that said, they are
Oh,
quickly
yeah,
attacked
this
when they
thing.
find tons of destroyed ships, and a Star Fox boss battle moves in to kill him. One of the things that impressed me most years later is how well the CGI held up. With Disney 2D
Yeah,
films,
there's
there's
like-
been CG that blends great, and
Oh,
CG
yeah,
that
when we
doesn't
talked about
blend.
this.
But it's
But
very
there's
rare when
really good
all
moments
of
where
it
the
works.
CG
Even the
actually
ones that had
mixes
the best
well with the
CG
2D
had some
animation and the
glitch-ups here and there.
backgrounds.
Here, I couldn't find any. It all looks great. They do the Iron Giant thing of putting lines around the models, but they also move the painted background seamlessly too. They blend so amazingly that Akita's transformation.
Oh,
I'm still
yeah,
not
when we
sure
get to
if that
this.
animation CG,
This was so
hand-drawn, or
cool.
both.
I loved
Part of
it.
that may be because the characters were
I
designed by
loved
Mike Mignola,
just like
who
the
always gives his
style of
drawings more
animation
of
they
an
had
angle.
with it.
I think those sharp edges.
It's one of the
made it
reasons
easier
why,
to
like, I
create a
started,
world
like,
where those
really
flat
liking
surfaces
animation
could
so
look a little
much.
more natural. I even remember my stomach dropping when they entered that air pocket. On the big screen, you really felt the pressure of them turning that ship upward. It was almost like a Disney ride.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think people consider
you
how
get
rare
that
it is
feeling.
to have no awkward CG in a hand-drawn film. And this movie definitely deserves credit for that.
Tell Cookie to melt the butter and bring out the bibs. I want this lobster served up on a silver platter.
For future reference, sir, that quip took 5 seconds to say, and that's 5 seconds.
Really
that could
weird
have saved
dialogue,
lives.
I know Joss honestly.
Whedon helped write
But,
this,
you know.
but you can be funny later. The ship is destroyed, and much of their crew is lost in the battle. Oh yeah, this movie has an impressive body count.
Yeah, keep in mind, this was a kid's film. But they did not stray too far from
So
people
many
dying in
blown
this.
up, drowned. Audrey even had to sacrifice a few folks to stop flooding. Thank God this rating is in the same category as mild thematic elements. What the fuck's in this that's worth a PG? I should also point out that this film was
No,
shot in
I'll let him
panoramic
figure it out.
and it takes full advantage of it.
Oh yeah, I
That's a
forgot
sleeping
about like the
beauty that's been
widescreen
so blown
shots.
away with how much
There were
of
like
Disney
so
animated
many
film
of them in this
utilized
movie,
the
and they
space
made it like
given to them.
really look
Again, on the
good.
big screen, this was phenomenal to look at. They continue their journey on dry land, where the crew mostly mocks Milo, but after a while lighten up and let him sit at the cool kids' table.
Halfway through medical school, I was drafted.
I'm saving up so my father.
Yeah, you get to learn more about
There
the
was
characters.
this boom.
No more Chinese flower shop.
It was like the sign from God.
This is really where you realize the strength of the characters. I could just sit and listen to them talk in a circle and be totally satisfied. Again, maybe not Mole.
Yeah.
The French love Jerry Lewis, you say. Upon learning their backstories, Milo also discovers why each of them are down there. Tell me every director hasn't
wait,
had
they were
this
gonna-
talk with Disney executives.
Never
That's what
mind.
this is all about, right? I mean, discovery, teamwork, adventure. Unless you're just in it for the money.
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 I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Word for word, how they greenlit Lion King 2.
All right. Thing is, like, we're not even like halfway like finished with this review yet. We're like almost there near the end, almost there. But I guess we should be able to like continue on with it just to see how far we can actually get into like you all know what I mean. Without further ado, let's actually continue on. And I think at this point we will also get to see Cree Summers in her voice acting role. As a character. Which, fun fact, she did come back to voice the character in the supposed straight-to-DVD sequel.
Mental image of Milo shitting. They're attacked by literal fireflies who burn the camp.
Fireflies from hell!
Separate and comes across the Atlantean princess.
I'm sorry, I had to make a
Kiva,
little
voiced by
reference
Summer,
there.
who heals
If you
him
guys
with her
understand that reference, let me know.
Everyone, I think we owe Gwyneth Paltrow an apology.
Wait, what?
They finally
I'm sorry,
stumble
I don't
across the
understand,
lawsuit,
though.
which I have to admit does really have a strong identity. It really looks like a civilization that's futuristic, but also ancient. Their language was
I think it's
designed by
safe
the
to
same
say
guy who
that
created
Atlantis
Klingon.
was one of those places that had, like, their own kind of, like, advanced
Color
alien
scheme and white hair
technology,
is a
sort
simple
of.
but quick way to make them stand out in
Weird,
the crowd.
but
And their
it's
power
really
source
cool.
being tied to an energy crystal, the same way ours is tied to electricity, creates some interesting world building. I even like how they know tons of languages, even though it pretty much makes no sense.
Parlez-vous français?
Oui, monsieur.
They speak my language.
Their language must be based on a root dialect. It's just like the Tower of Babel.
I think that's
A
kind of
very
like saying, well, the root
odd
language of English
root
is German.
dialect, but
so
a
I
root
speak
dialect
German.
nonetheless.
Hey, Tamara, ich bin ein Stund Bluppensteiner.
Company schlagen.
Education.
I probably could go back and
They're
pause that
taken
and
to
read
King-
what she actually said,
King,
but
played by Leonard
that would
Nimoy,
take way
was
too
not
long.
pleased with their arrival.
But we are peaceful explorers, men of science.
And yet you bring weapons.
Weapons mean evil. Did you not listen to the giant robotic weapon we sicked on you?
Yeah, what was
Some
up with
want
that,
to rest
King?
and prepared to leave, but Kita is eager to learn as much about them as possible.
What is your country of origin? When did the floodwaters recede? How did
Wait
you...
a minute, I got a few questions for you too.
I really enjoy how both of them are passionate about each other's worlds, even if, again, the details
Well, the main
don't
reason
quite add
mostly
up.
because that
said
while they
that
are
the
from
gods
both
sent
different
great
worlds, they
catastrophes.
also like both
I mean, that
are
would make you
intellectually like
hundreds
curious
years
about
old.
one another or
Yes.
one another. I can't
100
talk.
years old. But she was like 5 when Atlantis sank. So let's say 95 years subtracted from 1914 equals Totally a time period Plato would be remarking on. Yes, it goes perfectly with his other famous quote.
Maybe it's like a world that is like going backwards in time somehow when they got sunk or something. I don't even know.
They can speak countless others, but can't read their own. Maybe the root language only works verbally? Hey, I'm not a linguist, and neither are the writers, clearly.
No matter what I try, it will not respond.
Turn the crystal 1/4 turn back.
Yes, yes.
While your hand was on the inscription pad.
Yeah.
Okay, I've bought a lot of nonsense in this movie, but this guy knowing anything about cars, I gotta draw the line somewhere.
Well, he's good with pipes, so maybe at some point at a young age he learned how to work on car engines. Or just any kind of, like, vehicle engine.
Oh, glad to know he can speak their language, but can't pronounce her name. Nitpick, nitpick. Let's get to where the movie actually gets bad.
You have a nice swim?
Yeah, remember when I said we learn more about work later?
This.
That is a good thing.
Mercenary. I prefer the term adventure capitalist.
It's revealed that he was, in fact, a surprise villain. Yes, this is arguably where the long line of shitty twist villains
Well, to
began.
be fair,
I know you could argue
the Hans
Clayton or
turning into a
Gaston,
villain
but
actually kind of was a surprise to me in
from the
Frozen.
start. This is a guy who was on their side and then suddenly switches. And just like so many of the twist villains that would follow,
Sorry
he's
about
really
that.
fucking lame.
Let me just
Now,
wipe.
I'm going to count to 10. And you're
Oh,
going to
jeez.
tell me where the crystal is.
He wants to
I was
use
getting
the
a little
lost
stuffy
treasures and
today.
technology to sell to the highest bidder. Which, as the later scene points out, they could literally take anything from there and become millionaires. But no, they gotta evil and beat up the king and take their power source because, oh, how that Bay Ninja Turtles movie put it?
I'm gonna be rich. Like, stupid rich.
Jesus, is that boring. It's hard
We'll
to
never
believe the
forget
company
that
that came up
line.
with some of the greatest villains of all time had a long slump of
So
boring
it's safe to
schmuck
say
that
why
began with
this
this
character
guy.
is not
I
on the
can't act
list of
all
like
the
all
great
the
Disney
best
villains
Disney
had great
villains.
motivations, but they had a passion and charm to their evil. This guy just talks about how rich he's gonna be. Oh my god, diabolical.
You led us right to the treasure chest.
I'd double the price.
I was thinking triple. It's big, it's shiny, it's gonna make us all rich. Jackpot. More for me. We're this close to our biggest payday.
Yeah.
I love it when I win.
The sad thing is, I'm convinced
I
Gunnar
mean,
could
that was
be
a pretty
really
funny
good Disney
line,
villain.
not gonna lie.
Maybe they
I
went
love
to
it
his
when I win.
history or why he wanted the money. All the other characters had reasons. Do like Ramesses, where we see why he's so stubborn. You can even keep it simple, like the bad guy from Rescuers Down Under. He just wanted
Well,
money
then again,
too,
there was
but
this
he made
villain.
the whole movie to be
Yeah.
sinister and not just a dumb surprise at the end. This guy's just a dick. A dull
Maybe I
dick.
guess at
A
this
surprise
point, like
dull
the
dick. A surprise
writer
dull
like couldn't
dick made
think
out
of a way to like
gluten-free
introduce
toast.
a villain that quick when they were showing off the
They're
world
taken
of
to the heart of
Atlantis.
Atlantis, aka their energy source, as the bad guys try to figure out how to transport it.
That's tell her to wrap it up. We got a schedule to meet.
She's still weird too. What was that look about? That floor looks delicious. I don't know. That look was so out of to make a proper
I mean,
joke
maybe
about.
like she was just
But as
like
is custom
more
with this
concerned
movie,
about
whenever
Kita
something
though.
lame happens, something fucking cool follows shortly after.
Yeah,
Kita
this
fuses
epic
with the
scene
power
right
source and
here.
easily the best scene of the movie.
Wow, this literally is such a cool
Visually
scene
stunning.
though.
The animation's beautiful. The
If not,
music
like,
by
it's
James
one of the
Newton
best
Howard is
scenes in this
stellar.
movie.
And like I said before, it's hard to tell what part of her is hand-drawn and what part is CG. She really does look otherworldly.
Oh yeah, that quick eye open. And the little water shield she's forming like around
It does
her.
kind of lead to a weird edit, though. After that amazing scene, you're wondering what's gonna happen. She gonna zap some shit, or blow the bad guys to hell, or be put in a crate? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of really a waste of this whole great ancient crystal, like, power thing that she was, like, talking about. And keep in mind, there was an earlier scene where she was easily able to take out those soldiers while she had a knife, by the way. Then again, Rourke shot it out of her hand, and then there was that. But yeah, she was capable of taking them out. She could have used her powers also at that point. But I guess she wanted to be captured?
Wiping out an entire civilization.
I don't know. The movie doesn't explain it as much.
Milo makes a big speech to the team, though, and their conscience gets the best of them.
You
just gonna
can't be
clean my glasses real quick.
This is wrong and you know it.
Well, you really weren't acting like it before. I understand them going for the money and feeling bad when they found people, but look at them. They're happy as hell to be shitting on these people. They're just
Yeah.
cracking one-liners.
Knock, knock. Room service.
You're gonna be rooting for us in 5 minutes.
But then again, Sweet
Sorry,
was
though, I love that
basically
they
knowing
actually
at
animate
that
the door
point that this
accidentally
whole thing was
closing when
wrong.
Audrey
They
kicks it
didn't
open.
need any casualties, and they're like, yeah,
That doesn't
we'll
need
just
to
be
be in
good.
there, but it just adds another level of detail that makes the scene feel a little more alive.
Oh, sorry, that was a burp.
We're all gonna die.
A moment of silence for the last bit of smoking we will ever see in an animated Disney.
Yeah, again,
You can kill Bambi's
kids
mom,
movie.
taking a puff. That's just too thematic an element.
You pick now of all times to grow a conscience?
They decide to stay behind with Rourke blowing up the bridge, destroying their only way out.
P.T. Barnum was right.
I hope I'm remembered as a musical lie.
I mean, again, unless he's literally talking about the actual
Atlantis
story
dies,
of
making this,
P.T.
what,
Barnum.
His 10th death on screen, revealing that he as well used the crystal as a weapon, leading to their downfall.
My burden would have become hers, but now it falls to you.
Yeah, again,
My son.
never really
I'm not
explained
sure.
what happened to Kita's mother.
Okay, Dad. Milo's
I'm
given
guessing the
which he
crystal
uses to power the
took
vehicles,
her to
the
be a
ones
guardian
that
of it, I
used, but
guess.
everyone is suddenly an
I'm not
expert at
even
driving,
sure.
and they all try to stop Rourke. Yay, the Jellicle Cat is chosen! This climax is a lot of fun, with a lot of
Yep,
energy,
some
good
more
animation,
awesome action
and sharp
scenes.
shadows on the ships, almost giving a rotoscope feel to it. And as much as I crapped on the villain, there is one shot where he's
Ooh.
legitimately frightening. Jesus, those are some crazy eyes.
You give him the
Milo
crazy
uses
eyes.
the glass from Kita's cell that has the crystal's energy on it, resulting in a pretty badass death. I don't even know what sound that is that he makes, but it's both kind of silly and kind of creepy at the same time.
It's kind of a mix of in between, mostly,
Kita
but
back
you
and
know.
try to have her restore power to Atlantis. Oh, and there's a volcano erupting, because of course there is.
Yeah.
She calls upon the Iron Giant Castle in the sky.
Oh,
to
these
create a force
freaking things
field
were
around the
cool.
city. And I'm sorry, if you're not impressed by any of this, you can't call yourself an animation fan. It's pretty cool that the energy from the crystal is very similar to the markings on the city. Almost like there was an awareness of where their life
That
force
pretty much
came
just
from, and they used
protected
it
the
in their
entire
art.
city.
Even when the energy breaks through the molten rock, it still forms those symbols. I'm sorry, this movie is not as brainless as a lot of people let on. Kita's returned to her formal self, and in a really refreshing turnaround, her and Milo don't kiss. They hug. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've known each other for a day, and they act like
They
people
really didn't
who
want to go with that
known
whole
each other
Disney
for a
trope of the
day.
hero and
A
the
lot of folks like
heroine
to praise
basically
later
kissing at
Disney
the
for
end,
being
so-
more sensible with their romances,
Yeah,
but Atlantis was
I
one
like
of the
it.
earlier examples of them trying this out.
They'll take you as far as the surface.
We're really gonna miss you, Milo.
Milo decides to stay behind and says goodbye to his friends who were given a bunch of Atlantean treasures. I guess that's a nice way of
Yeah.
saying thanks for killing our king, leaving us for dead, and changing your mind at the last minute. All of them wearing some form of the Atlantean crystal is a nice touch, too.
Yeah, pretty much.
That
That little laugh of his.
Milo gives Whitmore a crystal
I can't
as well.
do it.
Kita becomes queen, Milo becomes first gentleman, and they honor
I
Kita's
think
father
she
by
said
sending
he
his
was
Majora's
also going to
Mask
be like
into the air.
half of a king of Atlantis, I guess.
And that was Atlantis, the Lost Empire. Fuck the haters, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay,
I figured as much.
On board with it as material for older audiences.
good thing
and
he
younger
likes the
audiences.
Disney
No,
movies that he
thanks.
talks about.
But it's just so imaginative, fun, charming, beautiful, and different enough from other
I will
Disney
agree, though,
properties
that they
that
could
I
have made
really do
Rourke a
think
better
it
villain
stands
in
out.
this.
I do wish some
But
things
everything
were
else in this
improved on,
movie is
like
just
the villain
awesome.
and the inconsistent tone, but how can I tell someone to skip a movie that has so many unique visuals, characters, and ideas? If you're looking for a family-friendly mix of Jules Verne and Indiana Jones in the Disney style, I think this is a lot of fun. Check out this underrated adventure if you haven't already.
Excuse me, could you spare a nickel?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I'm sure I got a nickel
Poor
somewhere.
Malcolm and
I'm the
Tamara.
nostalgia critic. I remember so you don't have to.
That Snyder guy never went anywhere, did he?
Let me see if I have any bills.
Oh, boy. Well, there you have it, guys. That was my reaction to Nostalgia Critic's review of Atlantis: The Lost Empire. And again, it's good to see that there are Disney movies that he's reviewed that he actually likes. It's good to see that. And surprisingly, it's also kind of like also going back to his old ways of like reviewing nostalgic movies, basically. So that's kind of interesting. Also, great again to hear Cree Summers. And again, sorry if this was like a late upload of this, because again, I was working that day when it was her birthday, so there is that happened. So yeah, again, apologies for that. But again, hey, Cree Summers, you're an awesome voice actress, and you will always be an amazing voice actress. Cannot wait to see what other new stuff you do, which I'm excited to see. Anyway, with that being said, thank you all for watching this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the notification. Sorry, I can't talk when I'm tongue-tied. Give me a second. Okay. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell to never miss a video. And with that, I will see all you awesome guys and gals later. Bye-bye!